Hi, it's me. I'm back. And it's the recovering borderline, so I won't keep on saying that. I'm trying to find my groove and um, starting off this podcast. So, like I said, let me know in the comments what you guys think. And um, I know I seem kind of like sad or down today or not as upbeat, but I wanted to, shall we say, um, talk about, remember, criteria 5. It is the fifth criteria for the DSM-5 TR in for borderlines, and that is um, suicidal ideations, um, attempts, self-harm, that kind of thing, because it was the podcast before. So this is kind of an extension, an addendum, if you will, because I want to tell you about a story about one of my patients. And, I'm not going to mention any names or, but I had a patient who she was, sh- you know, she had borderline personality disorder. She had multiple hospitalizations, all, from her 20s to her 40s. Um, she self-harmed, but not not that much. Nothing required stitches or anything like that. And but she whenever she came across something that showed a, shall we say, a mark, not a mark, a not a goal, but it, a mark in her life. What do you call that? A just a second. I wanted to say a milestone. That's what I was trying to say. And she kind of self-harmed around that. And we never really like talked about it, but what she considered significant birthdays, milestones. Um, and when she didn't doesn't like to take compliments, she does not take them well. Um, and she actually, a nurse who was, studying for her psych nurse practitioner, and she finally finished and she took the test and she passed, and she didn't think she was going to do it because it took her a couple of times. And so she took the test, she found out she passed, and she told her friends, and she told significant people in her life. But deep down, she said it never, reading congratulations, you passed and you're certified as a nurse practitioner just never resonated with her. She's just like, okay, now what do I have to do next? It, she wouldn't let herself enjoy the moment. And when I tried to talk to her about it, she was just like, oh, never mind. Um, I mean, I've been, you know, she had said that she was starting to think that she was recovering from her personality disorder. And so we were going to start psychotherapy to get at the things that had happened in her childhood as to what might have happened. And there were there's some significant things that happened, but you know, I thought she was in a pretty good place to, and she felt it too. And she just, she was ready to start. She felt that she was stable enough to handle what we were going to talk about. And um, so she called me up, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you passed. How does it feel? And she basically told me, she's like, I mean, it's cool, I just need to get a job and blah blah blah. So anyway, a couple of days later, I was having it was our appointment, and she told me, she's like, I just went like 8 million steps backwards. And I said, what do you mean? And what do you mean you went 800 million steps backwards? And she's like, I self-harmed last night. And I kind of let her process it, or I just kind of let her. There was that therapeutic silence, and I said, what happened? She's like, the only way it could, I felt like it could be real, was to self harm, and it was, I had to make it feel like a punishment. And I said, and she also said, another thing she said, she's like, because I feel like a fraud. I feel like when I get a job, they're going to see right through me, that I'm not going to know any of the meds, like what they do, how they interact, all this kind of stuff. It's nurse practitioner crap. Don't worry about it. But her self-confidence was sucked, or it does suck. And she admits it. I'm not saying anything she didn't tell me, but I was like, you had to you had to feel pain. Like, she's like, that's the only way I could connect with it. And I said, well, had other what other milestones in your life that were positive, that, and so I mean, we talked about it and stuff, and I was just like, wow. I mean, in a way, I kind of understood it, because I I was kind of raised like that, in the sense of like, okay, you graduated, with your bachelor's. Now you have to go get your master's. Then you have to go get your doctorate, and then you have to go, and then. Um, and also, she told me that she felt like she was being narcissistic, even though she's not. She's sarcastic as hell, but she's not narcissistic. Um, and she goes, I felt like if I tooted my horn and said, hey, I passed, that I felt like I would be considered narcissistic. And so I I asked her, I said, so, I asked her where she self harmed, that if she, and I knew that she wasn't going to go to the hospital. She's just like, you know, she didn't require stitches or anything like that. And she told me that when she was cutting herself, she was just like, you're a fraud. You're a fraud. You have to feel this. You have to feel that you're a fraud. She wanted to connect the pain with what she was feeling. And I just said to her, I said, you have just solidified again connecting pain with an, you know, you've connected a negative physical symptom, pain, with your thinking. I mean, what would you say if you were the psych nurse practitioner that was dealing with you right now? What if you were in the chair and that patient was on the couch? What would you say? And what she told me, I said, well, that's not very therapeutic. I'm not going to say, but she's like, I'm afraid. And she just kept on saying, I'm afraid they're going to see I'm a fraud. I'm, a, I'm afraid of, and I'm afraid. And I was just like, so I wanted to tell you guys this because even though you have this diagnosis, or you're dealing with it, or somebody, and if and if something is coming up, if borderlines we don't act the same way towards goals and um, and milestones. It's not like, oh, I'm turning 50 and my life's over and I don't have a partner and blah blah blah. Well, kind of in a way, but it's yeah, we should feel that 1,000 times more. But what I'm trying to say is that preventatively, if you know a borderline, or if you are a borderline, and you're coming up on a milestone, let your therapist, friend, confidant, well, whoever, maybe let somebody know, like, listen, I'm yeah, I know I'm getting married, or I'm going into graduate school, or I'm going for this promotion, or something that will have a positive social outcome, like it might increase your salary or something. Maybe let somebody know that you might take a 180-degree turn, and that, I don't know, like, reach out and go, you know what? Don't, if you're reaching out to your therapist, and if you have self-harmed, or if you are having SI or whatever, tell them that I don't know what happened. This was the most stupid thing I ever did, and blah blah blah. Don't say that, because they're gonna disagree. They're gonna be like, they're not gonna be like, why? I mean, internally they'll be like, what was the trigger? Because we're always thinking about our patients. We're always like, even though, well, I mean, we're not always, but I mean, we think about what happened, how did the wheels come off, and why. And because people fascinate us. People and what they do fascinate us. You fascinate us. And I know you've heard, we just want to help and blah blah. I mean, honestly, that's not lip service. It's not bullshit. I didn't really want to become a nurse, but I feel that me slogging through nursing for the last 30 years has brought me to the point of where I feel like I want to be. That now I feel like I can serve the population that has always fascinated me, that I always wanted, my path is not linear. But what I'm saying is that we as therapists, we just want to help you live a better life, or else you wouldn't be sitting on our couch, or else you wouldn't be coming in, paying the money, and pouring out every detail of your life. So my suggestion is maybe if you know a milestone is coming up, or you're facing a huge certification exam, or something that is important to you, okay? Something that scares the shit out of you, that you do not know how you're going to feel when you take this exam. You're not going to know how you feel when you overcome, or you know make that milestone, because you're so used to failing that you've just automatically be like, oh well, okay, yeah, I have to keep on going. Yeah, I passed it, I made it, I did this, I finished the marathon, or I did this, or um but just, i guess let your therapist know, let somebody know you are facing this, and that you are probably not going to be cheering in the, you're not going to be like taking a victory lap, and you're going to be like, please don't keep on saying, oh, good job, because it doesn't resonate with us whatsoever. And but like I said, this is kind of an addendum. This is one of the podcasts that I want to start putting out, that isn't just criteria. This is real life stuff. So have a good day, and like, share, and subscribe, even though this was kind of morose. And let me know. Talk to me. Bye bye.